Okay, welcome back to How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Anime Review, episode number 10. Anybody think it's up 10? Did you have another series just like yesterday hit episode 10? Yeah, it was actually Doctor Who Reviews. Yeah, and the key is this is the first one to hit 10 in quite a while. Yes. Yeah, that's something interesting about this. The fact that this one, out of all the anime I have, I think like the last special before this one, I could think of a hit episode 10 was probably Quintuple Quintuplets. That was the last unofficial one to hit 10. Yeah, that was the last unofficial one to hit 10, which is good. Now, this episode, this one I can clarify basically, because the last two episodes I've been guessing because Wikisite haven't updated. Now it has. This episode adapted from the prelude on Book 6. Yep, the prelude Book 6, which, yes, you can definitely see that here. And the second chapter, Book 8. Which I did not suspect they'll get to Book 8 this season, given how much episodes are left. But yeah, they definitely put chapter 2 for good reason. Though they actually threw in some stuff from that particular chapter. Now what happens in this episode? The first episode first starts off with Diablo's group still in the area of Zarkon Tower, where he's summoned to the smoking hot governor's room. He's like, what my reward is. And his reward, her trying to sleep with him. Yep. And he's like, oh god, he's like so nervous. And here's the thing. This woman is hot. Oh my gosh, this woman is smoking hot. As the mask would say, smoking. Yes, I did quote Jim Carrey there. Yeah, it's Miss Lematius. Yep. Yeah, you see her very briefly at the start of the episode. And then here's the thing. You'll see her rest of the episode. Nope, because she has not returned. I think this is her only appearance because the thing is, she doesn't return in Book 9. Yeah, Book 9. And the woman, aside from the three books, basically 4, 5, and 6, you don't really see her very, very much in the books. Like, for like one book and that's it. So as soon as they finish up there, they go straight back to Fenoria. Yep, they go back there just to get some stuff. And my guess is because Lemurkane was probably not in Book 8, they decided to have her, Shira, and Rem get briefly written out the story. Just so Diablo, with Rose, can go check on Clem. Yes, where they find her? At a cafe. Yes, a cafe on the other side of town, eating biscuits. And Trina the Fallen is there. Yeah, she's there. And Clem is there too to meet the owner. This is something I don't like about this particular scene. Diablo does not introduce Clem to Rose. I mean, she and Rose and Erdharn basically get along really well in this episode. But there's no on-screen introduction like, hey, this is Rose, my maid. Yeah, there's like nothing. They chat for a bit. Celeste is there. Great to see her. I mean, she was just seen just in the opening episode of the season. I think after that, she hasn't seen since. This is probably her first one in this anime since episode 1. It had been 6 episodes since her last appearance. Well, because she wasn't in much Book 4 or in Book 5. Here, she was briefly at the beginning here. So, they chat for a bit. Of course, she and Clem are basically cafe buddies because because Diablo asked her back in episode 1 to keep an eye on her. And then we see the owner being, let's say, roughed up by 3 people demanding tribute to this criminal organization. It's basically a shakeup. This is something that actually has happened in real life. I personally never seen it, but it's common in fiction. Yeah, these are gangsters who want money from the owner. Like, I can't pay right now. And of course, their piggy bank, because they want to buy the place. And of course, piggy ends up on Clem's plate, and it breaks her biscuit. And she gets angry, though. In the English dub, they refer to biscuit as a cookie. Not really sure why Funimation changed the wording from a biscuit to a cookie, because in the sub, it's still referred to as a biscuit. In the light novel, the show is based on, it's a biscuit. In the English dub, it's a cookie. My guess is the reason why they changed it from biscuit to cookie, and this is my personal theory, because by appearance wise, it's a cookie. It's a sugar cookie. Actually, no, it's a peanut butter cookie is what it is. And she just loves eating these cookies. And because when I think of a biscuit, I think of a piece of bread. And the owner is basically, why don't you use something besides biscuits? Why don't you eat just bread? Technically, bread is a biscuit. That is how we think of biscuits. It's a piece of bread that we eat. What she's eating is a cookie. Yeah, so... And of course, they found out they're part of this organization. And we see images of guns, which that's kind of weird very much for this series. Now, the only gun we've seen is the magic gun woman is from Ferdius, Themis, the governor of Zarkon Tower. And Diablo basically... Now, this is probably all from Chapter 2 of Book 8. It's been a little bit since I read the book. It's been a while since I read the book. I think I read the book like last year. But yeah, so it's been a while. So... They go to the place, really easy to find it, and then Diablo melts the nice looking gate he has, and the mansion, like, wow, this looks like a modern mansion you would see probably in Europe. And they break in, beat a bunch of guys, well, basically the guys are there, and of course Diablo knocks him out before Clem, who really wants to kill him, but Diablo's like, no, don't kill him. So... Then after beating some more goons up, then they come across a guy called Scarface. Yes, Scarface. Where Clem, instead of basically beating him up, decides to give him a low blow, kick him right in the balls, and basically send him flying about 20 feet. Like 20 feet like in front of her. And then Diablo like talks to the other guys. He's like, answer, if you value your life, answer my question. The question is probably where the heck their boss is. And they find him really easily. And the subordinates there gets run away. He also has apparently a couple of girls beside him. Of course, his parents kept a secret. And when you see him, even Diablo was disappointed. Basically, just a shabby old man who this guy is. And the guy was going to kill him over the biscuits. And so he basically blew a hole in his wall. And he basically said, okay, I'll apologize, turn myself in. That's what he did. And of course, everybody's celebrating the fact that, well, what happened. And, of course, Galahad shows up. Yes, he's here. Diablo, from the anime perspective, had not seen this guy since the events, since he basically beat the crap out of him back in the episodes of that book 2 of the series. When I have real whole thing about Shira's people and the fact he killed Shira's her evil brother. I wonder if they're throwing the anime, because I don't think this was in the light novel, when Diablo meets... Well, Shira's mom, probably tell her, like, okay, your daughter is a nice woman, but your son was a jerk. And he tried to rape his own sister. Yeah, that's what her brother did, tried to rape his own sister, just because he really wanted the child. If you want the child, go find yourself another woman. You don't have to bang your own sister, man. Jesus Christ, what was wrong with this guy? Of course, that was something that happened back in Season 1. I talked about last year. So... And because Clem did such a good thing, Galahad decided not to simply investigate this for her, because it would be a waste of time, because everybody's here praising her, and they go off. And of course, also in the episode, the thing is, they have Rem go get the carriage, where they're going to go, separates her out of the episode. Shira goes with Leverkina, and of course, Emil to go to the local church to basically check out what's going on there. At the end of the episode, they get their carriage, and, of course, they all go off. They all leave. And, of course, Emil is there to say goodbye. Of course, you see Shiva's there. Yeah, it's not Shiva. Sylvia's there for a couple brief scenes. Yeah, she's seen here for like, I think she gets very little screen time here. Like, wow, it is, like, solo screen time. I think the total amount of time she gets is maybe about 3 or 4 minutes at most. You see a brief, and all the time she's here with Emil. By the way, next episode's turn of the character Alicia for the first time in this season. The last time anybody saw her was the end of Season 1, which basically was the opening of start of Book 4 for the series. And now we're finally going to get back to her. Great. And the fact that the rest of the season is probably going to take out the rest of Book 6. Yep. And hope to God there's going to be Season 3, because Season 3, it's going to be a pretty important season. Hopefully it's not 10 episodes next season. Or, and this is what I personally hope, because apparently Second Cure is apparently very popular nowadays because of the pandemic. I'm really hoping we get like maybe like a part 2 where they'll like adapt books 7 through 9 and take a little break, and then adapt books 10 to 13, well, 10 to 12, and maybe later on adapt 13. I mean, technically, when they finished book 6, they only got about 7 books left, surprisingly. And you know the strange thing about these books that the series has been based on? They're not very long. Like, every book keeps getting shorter and shorter. The books I've read, like, because I download them legally, of course. And these are the actual books. These books are thin. They're basically about as thin as this graphic novel. Think of this graphic novel here, this Green Arrow graphic novel. Yeah, that's how thin a lot of the books are, because they're not very long. If you want to know how long they are, they tend to range from book 12, for instance. That's 112 pages. The most recent book that came out, book 13, that was like 122 pages, I think it was. It was really short, definitely. And it felt as like every book since like the first book, the first book was about 200 pages, and it felt like every book since it was like 5 pages shorter than the previous book. It kept getting shorter and shorter. Yes, so if you're thinking the anime is basically rushing through the books, no, the anime is not rushing the books at all. They're actually taking their time with these books, because the books themselves are not very long. They're only just about 120 pages apiece. It varies every time, so yeah, it's not surprising. The books, I mean, take a look, let's say book 4, for example. Book 4, they started adapting with the end of the previous season, and they wrapped that up with, I think it was like, it wasn't 2. Let me see here. I think it was episode 3. Yes. So this took up pretty much the correct amount of episodes to cover. Yes, basically it took up 4 episodes, and then basically book 5 started with the 3rd episode, the prelude. Yeah, where it started with 3, and I think it wrapped up with last week's episode 6, which that was technically 4 episodes right there, and we're probably going to get 4 episodes again with this one. Yeah, probably 4, but it just highly depends on, well, how much time they have. Because the cover of the book has got a horn on it, so yeah, we're probably going to wrap up this arc with these last 4 episodes. I mean, well, how much could they cover in just the final 3 episode season? Well, they could probably have next episode cover the first 2 episodes, the first 2 chapters, and then have 3, and then have maybe like, I'd be like episode 8, 9 can cover 3 and 4, and then like 10 can cover like the last two bits, the interlude and the epilogue. So it could possibly we could get into season book 6, which is fine, which means if there's a season 3, 7 through 9, pretty simple. Though I think they probably will also in book 10, because that seems like an epilogue to that story arc. Even though you could think that book 9 is the epilogue, but book 10 is kind of the conclusion to that. Though I'm hoping for more. Okay? So yeah, that's episode review. Next view is Shaman King. And then, that'll be pretty much it for today. And I'll talk about basically if there's any videos planned for tomorrow in the Shaman King review, okay? See you in this video. Bye.